When is a piece of wood like a king? When it's a ruler. All week we're going to be talking about what it means to be royalty. And I know it's hard for you to believe, but I have never been a queen. I know. Have you ever been a princess? Maybe you've been a knight. Maybe you know more about royalty than I do. But I have never been a queen. And I think it would be really fun to imagine what it's like to live in a castle, or to have all those servants, or maybe to wear all the fancy clothes. But when I start really thinking about what it meant to live in a kingdom, it seems hard. Here's why. This week we're going to be talking about a certain king named Manasseh. Let's say that together because it's a funny name. Manasseh. His dad's name was Hezekiah. And the interesting thing about these two kings is they were in a long line of kings for Israel, ancient Israel in Bible times. You can find out all about this in the Old Testament. In the Old Testament, we learn about all kinds of different kings that served the nation of Israel. The thing about being a king, though, was that it meant you got whatever you wanted, and whatever you said, everybody in the kingdom had to do. Now, I know what you're thinking. It would be pretty awesome to be king. But think for a moment what that means for everybody else in the kingdom. If the king is the only one that gets a say in how we do what we do or what happens next, it means that you have to do whatever he says. So what if what he says isn't a great idea? What if the king isn't kind? What if he does things that hurt people? And would you dare disagree? God saw what was happening in the nation of Israel, and year over year, generation over generation, our God was so super patient with the nation of Israel, and he kept giving people a chance to be a good king. And he had given them lots of great examples, and he had given them lots of instruction, and God was with the nation of Israel. But because kings can make mistakes and make bad choices too, sometimes the kingdom fell apart. After many, 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 many years of good kings and bad kings, God finally sent a solution for all people for all time. This brings us to today's big idea. God made you, God's plan is for you, and Jesus is the only way. See, God always had a plan, and he made each person for a purpose on purpose. But sometimes our own choices get in the way of God's plan for our lives. God gave us the King of Kings, one king for all time, named Jesus, as a way back to God so that we could be in relationship with him. Because our King loves us, and he doesn't want to see us separated from the kingdom. The difference in having Jesus as a king is that you get to choose. And when you choose Jesus as king, it really changes everything because you get to be in relationship with God. As people in God's kingdom, we get a few commands, and they look a lot different than the commands that the people of Israel would have had during Manasseh's time. Your key verse for this week comes from the book of 1 Timothy in chapter 4, verse 12. As members of God's kingdom, we are given this command. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young. Set an example for the believers in what you say and in how you live. Also set an example in how you love and in what you believe. I'm so excited about that command because it invites me to show God's love and to continue to learn how to be an example by following the example of Jesus. Our King, Jesus, is a loving and generous King. He is kind, and he's excited to get to know you. Even when you don't obey this King, unlike Manasseh, unlike the other kings that we'll learn about, Jesus will always forgive you, and he always chooses you, and he always invites you back. The kingdom of God is a kingdom of invitation, and you get to choose Jesus. When you choose Jesus, you get to know why God made you and what his plan is for you. Isn't that exciting?